It was a possibility. Hi, Mayor. How are you? How are you doing? So just as I might. So my point is that you have an opportunity here that is unique, and will the AG budge on the dollar for dollar match? I can't say that he will or he won't. But assuming that he doesn't, then it's critical for you to put this together. I don't know how many of you saw the piece on 60 Minutes in December that was done on vacant property. Yeah, that was my 13 minutes and 10 seconds of fame. I didn't even know, by the way, who Scott Pelley was when he got out of the car. I thought he was a local newsman because I don't watch 60 Minutes and I don't watch CBS News anyway. I should have figured it was a big deal when two makeup people followed him out of the car. But anyway,
we don't have that with the local.
Yeah, if I had known that, I would have gotten a better shave that day and maybe worn a tie. But in any event, on the block he did that taping where they were showing all the property that come down. There was a triple homicide in a vacant property at the end of that street about 5 weeks ago. And why do I tell you that? Because it speaks to the crime issue. Crime and vacant properties, there's a direct analysis, a direct correlation. There are studies out there. I'll send you to them if you'd like to see them.
Want me to pass out?
Yeah, this is the bill. So crime issues, clearly, valuation issues. I don't have to tell you, folks, if you live next to a vacant property, your house isn't worth as much. And if you live around a lot of vacant properties, your house isn't not worth much, it's worth nothing. So focusing in on this has been critical, and that's part of what my job has become. Now what Sam is passing out is, and that's the last, and I'll take questions. On Monday at 10:30, there's a bill being heard in Congress called the Restore Our Neighborhoods Act, being introduced by Congressman Steve LaTourette, by the way, a Republican, but he's got bipartisan support, including Congressman Ryan, and that bill will create tax credits that will require state participation that could provide an extra $240 million for the demolition problem. So I want to just tell you that the AG money gets you partway home, but this Restore Our Neighborhoods Act can really take us much closer to the goal that we're seeking. Yes.
And I guess that's part of my question is that, based upon our size, the county our size, the community, the city our size, what's the dollar figure that you would imagine that as it comes down that we would be looking to match?
Well, there's 75 million you could match, but you're not going to, right. So assuming that you can raise the DTAC here from 2.5% to 5%, you can borrow against that. It's not against the county's guarantee. I know the commissioners are concerned. Land banks can borrow. So it's not against the county's guarantee. So if the land bank puts together $1 million, that gets you $2 million. And that money, I assume, goes to townships. The mayor is here, and I don't want to spoil my meeting with him later, but I am, what I'm going to advocate is that cities, the city of Cleveland is going to borrow, like I said, $4 million. Cities have a unique opportunity to take advantage of this match money. And I think it's critical. So between the land bank, the city, and maybe even the county government to cobble together $3–4 million, that's $6 to $8 million for demolition in this county alone, which may not necessarily take down every vacant house, but will take down most of them. And that's the interesting thing about vacant properties. We're not being asked to solve the problem of urban education or the broken family, right? I mean, all these issues, societal. There is a finite number of vacant properties in your county. There's a finite number in the city of Warren. And when you take those properties down, your neighborhoods will be more valuable, they will be safer. And as I've said to the folks in DC, they always talk about building a new American city. You can't build a new American city, unfortunately, until you take down a lot of the old one. And that's just reality. This isn't Boston, this isn't New York, this isn't a hot market city where vacant properties get snapped up. These are properties that have to come down. Let's be honest, a lot of them are functionally obsolete. The properties we deal with in Cleveland were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. They were worker housing. And why would you want to, no offense to those folks, but why would you want to spend $70,000 rehabbing a house with, 4 tiny rooms on the first floor, 1 bathroom, a narrow staircase going up, and you can do it? Cleveland just spent $9 million rehabbing 50 houses through NSP2, $180,000 a house. Not my idea of a wise spending choices, but I don't know, you're probably taping that. Just cut that part out so nobody in Cleveland gets upset. So anyway, let me get back to this this issue. So we have the Restore Our Neighborhoods Act, and there's another critical issue, and I say to you, Sam, and you to Mayor Franklin, we have another problem that is driving the cost of demolition through the roof, and it has to do with EPA. EPA has taken a real curious position on this. If you're an individual and you apply to take down your house individually, not through a land bank, not through a city, but you own a piece of property on Route 5 you want to take down, you're held to a very low standard. Basically, you just sign affidavits, your contractor that you're going to get rid of all the hazardous materials, and the cost is A. It's one price. If you're a city or a land bank, you're being held to a much higher standard. You're forced to spend money right up front to do a survey of the property, which runs hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and they go in and they test for lead and asbestos. And then the requirements around the demolition on those properties can take demolition costs and double them or triple them. Or in some cases, I venture to say quadruple them. The last mayor of Lorraine, not Chase Rittenhour, the new mayor, but the last mayor said to me that last year in Lorraine, 2 properties ate up 60% of their demolition budget. So part of what we're doing also is we're working with Ohio EPA. We've met with Governor Kasich's folks and with federal EPA, and we're trying to get to a middle ground where they don't take the cost of demolition and drive it through the roof. I was at a foundation recently where somebody came up to me, one of the members of the foundation, and said, I'm an environmental engineer, and I agree with you 100%. EPA is way over the top. There's not a single known case in this country of anybody ever contracting lung disease from asbestos fibers that have been knocked loose by demolition. So we're going to stay involved in that. The Congressional Act is next week, and we are also working hard in Thriving Communities, Western Reserve Land Conservancy, to look at strategies to address properties once properties are down. So my board says, okay, we think you're going to find the money to demolish all these houses. I'm glad they're that confident. And they said, but then what? What do you do with all these vacant lots? And in Cleveland, there'll be 15,000 of them. Here, I imagine there'd be in between Mahoning and Trumbull County in the valley, probably 5,000 to 6,000 vacant lots. So the issue of what you do with vacant land is one we're also looking at. We're working with people in Cleveland on a variety of issues, including this concept of urban forestry and restoring the urban tree canopy, treating land in such a way that it doesn't create a maintenance problem, the kind of grass that doesn't require the city of Warren come out 5 or 6 times a year to cut it, doesn't require a lot of maintenance, in the hope that someday that property will have value again. It can be brought back into the tax duplicate, if nothing more than for the adjoining property owner, which is of course probably the most obvious way. If you look at these, very often you take a property down, it's often just the adjoining owner who takes interest. So that's my report. And finally, I'd say to you, to the board, and I've got a letter into Sam, we have incurred significant costs in lobbying both at the state and federal level. And we've been asking land banks around the country, and I'll provide more details later, to assist us in those costs. We're not asking for a lot. I think we've been asking each land bank for $5,000, and a number have made contributions. So I don't know if this is the appropriate form, but at some point, contributions would be appreciated, because this has been a costly undertaking. So questions of the land bank board? All right, Sam, I don't know if you